Good evening, folks, and a very, very warm welcome to you on what will be a very cold night indeed. It's the Geelong Region Soccer Show podcast, and my name is Tonchi Prusak, and I'm going to be with you on this very, very special edition of the Geelong Region Soccer Show podcast. It's our 159th episode and our 9th for the year, season 7. Can't believe how time flies. That seems to be the order of events these days, isn't it? We're almost at the halfway mark of the season, and as far as the VPL competition is concerned, we are officially past the halfway mark of the Men's Victorian Premier League 2 competition. Speaking of which, tonight we're going to have quite a fair bit of coverage of the weekend's big local derby that was, I guess you could say, marred by the cold weather. It was freezing out at Elcho Park on Saturday night, and rain clouds were threatening just prior to kickoff. Nonetheless, though, a very good derby crowd was in attendance for quite a hard-fought contest. And we're going to hear from some of the actors after the match, and we'll also have some extensive video highlights from the Geelong versus North Geelong game played on the weekend. Also, we've got lots and lots of news. We've also got some news about two Geelong youngsters that are currently in Hong Kong with the Western United Football Club. And they have just over the last 24 hours captured some very valuable silverware in a rather prestigious seven-a-side tournament called the Hong Kong Soccer Sevens. We'll find out about that a little bit later on in our news desk. And also tonight, a very special guest. Now, if you are a parent of a very talented young footballer, male or female, heading down the elite pathway, or if you are a talented footballer yourself, and we're going to be talking to an expert in the field of unblocking mental barriers and mental obstacles. She's a doctor of neuroscience, and she's also here from Geelong, locally based author of the book Ultimate Brain Hacks, Dr Simone Boeer, who, by the way, is a long-time futsal player right here in Geelong. We'll be speaking to Simone a little bit later on in the show, and it's not just in the field of football or sports, personal development. It can apply to business. It can apply to your relationships. It can apply to midlife crisis, etc. It basically can apply to any element or aspect of your life. So, hang about for that, folks. We will be having that a little bit later on in the show. We're going to take a very, very short break, and when we return, it will be time for tonight's news desk. Don't go away. It is the Geelong Region Soccer Show that you are watching.
Your future is in your hands. There is a whole world waiting for you, and your choices determine how you will impact it. At the Gordon, we recognise this. That's why we champion hands-on learning. Get your hands dirty. Grab what's in front of you. Learn by doing. Turn your passion, your ideas, and mould them into your creations. You'll be supported the entire way. You'll grow your skills in small classes, guided by teachers who are industry experts. You'll learn in state-of-the-art facilities or out in a real-world workplace setting. Your hands-on experience will increase your understanding and put you ahead of your university peers. You'll graduate work-ready, and you'll graduate sooner, with a huge range of qualifications to choose from and support services to enable your success. Now is the time to continue your learning journey. At the Gordon, your future is in your hands.
Okay, welcome back to the news desk. And before we go any further, a big shout out to our major sponsor, the Gordon. That's right. The Gordon is our major sponsor again this year. So we thank everyone involved at the Gordon, and especially to Joe Ormino, their CEO. Also to our business advertisers, our main business advertisers, Curva Coaching and Just Turfing Instant Turf, and also our business advertisers for tonight's episode, Ozcom Technology and J Hill Books. On the weekend, as we mentioned, it was Victorian Premier League 2 action, the local derby, and in the end, North Geelong Warriors defeated the Geelong 2-0. Zach Kochankovsky scoring an unfortunate own goal in the 27th minute, and Angus Chapman scoring in the second half. We've got some extended highlights from Saturday night. Here it is.
Keep coming.
And that was some of the action from last Saturday night. Lots of football being played on the weekend. Indeed, there was another derby, a State League 4 derby, the night before in Lara when Lara United hosted Deakin Ducks. We'll find out about that a little bit later on. But after the game, after Saturday's game, our cameras caught up with the respective coaches, Stuart Begg from North Geelong Warriors, Ante Moric from Geelong Soccer Club, and also the scorer of that second goal for the Warriors, Angus Chapman.
Oh, look, it was, to be honest, I would say it was tightly contested, in all honesty. Like, they had a lot of possession. We looked to keep a good shape and looked to hit them in counters and moments, but we worked ourselves into the game. I thought they probably had the better of probably the first 15 minutes. But in the end, it's about scoring goals, and we scored 2. Now, it was two different shapes. They play an interesting shape when they build up, and there wasn't a lot of room in the middle of the park in the first half for either side to play football. It was very much a wide game and maybe a transition game in the first half. They had a lot of possession deep. It's always interesting because I believe this league is a transition league, and we knew that the game, once we scored, would open up, and they had to venture out, and when that happens, gaps happen, and we knew what they were going to try and do in the areas to attack, and we just looked to stop that and attack the areas where there were, less numbers than what we had. So, look, in all honesty, it was a tight contest. It wasn't, the 2 goals were, yes, we won 2-0, but it was a tight contest. They had some chances that they probably could have done better with, and that's football. I'd definitely say on the field, we, after a run of bad results, we had a good look at ourselves. We refocused. We fixed some things that really need to be fixed, and they've been very disciplined. And that's the main that's my main takeaway of every game has been always discipline. And every week in those 4 games that we've had wins, they've been all disciplined performance. We've been solid at the back. We've been defensively hard to break down. And, we know we've got ability to score goals, as you've seen tonight. So we know if we can defend well, we will score goals. Well, interesting because when I talk about discipline, they're probably one of the most disciplined teams in the league. They have a really good shape, very hard to break down. And, we'll have a work cut out for us to try and come up with something to get beyond that. But, we've got some good momentum, we've got some good players in good form, and we're scoring goals. So, look, again, this league, any team in this league can beat any team. And for me, we'll just have to make sure we're disciplined and we're very positive.
Yeah, tough to take after 3-4 weeks of really getting together as a team and building on. Like I said, the last 3-4 weeks have been building, and you know what? Tonight, it's a little like a hiccup, you can say. I think they were better tonight. Geelong were organised. They won every second ball. They hit us where we made 2 mistakes. They scored 2 goals. You know what? At this level, you can't make those mistakes. Yeah, no. Look, I think it was a corner, and it came out, and it came back in, and so I think one of our boys tried to clear it. Maybe miscommunication in that final area, in that box area, and unfortunately, it went in. And what do? You go 1-0 down, and deservedly so. I thought we're in the game. I'll say this: they were on the night. They were better. I've got no issue with that, but these little things, I keep telling my team, little mistakes, we need to be better. And when we're better, we are better overall. So tonight, we just weren't at that level. Yeah. Just lifting him back up. We've been training excellent. We've had a top week of training. The result, I can't forecast the result, yeah? No one can. But I just felt that, there were little moments during the game where I could see we just weren't probably where we need to be against a good opposition, yeah? They're the things. So nothing changes. I'm happy. I'm upset about the result, but I'm very happy with where the squad's at. And where we are in the position on the table, I don't really look at that. If that's where we're meant to be, that's where we're meant to be. But we refocus. We come back to training this week. We've got a big game against Nunawading. They turned the corner this year a little bit in the last few weeks. So, we talk about this maybe early on Tuesday. We forget it and we move on.
I think we played really well, but we probably could have even played better, to be honest. I thought in the first half we controlled it well, and I probably should have had a few more goals. And we got the goal, and yeah, we probably should have been a few more up. But we stuck to our plan, and I thought we executed it really well. Yeah, I always know that when Cass is on the ball, something's going to happen. So I try to, when he's on the ball, make forward runs and get in between players. Obviously, he found me a few times. Probably should have had 1 or 2 more in the first half, but obviously got the chance in the second half and took it well, and obviously got the goal. So that was important. I think we kind of, as a group, kind of went, all right, let's really see what we want to do with the season. We did have a really bad patch where we lost 3 or 4 in a row, and we kind of had to look at ourselves and go, okay, what's not working? What can we change, and where can we go? We know we're a good side, and we know we can really, really make a statement in this league. So we just had to get together, keep doing the right things. Obviously, Stewie made a few tactical adjustments, and from then on, we haven't looked back. Yeah, obviously, it's always nice to score goals as an attacking player. I probably should have more, to be honest, and that's kind of the standards I want to hold myself to. And when I do get the chances, I got to take them. But obviously, the team's doing really well, and when the team's doing really well, we're creating chances. So I'm just happy to get on the end of a few.
The world is yours. So work hard, and you can have whatever it is you want.
Oh, that's let's continue with the news for tonight, and so let's go back to the VPL But the women's, we'll have a look at the women's. In fact, that's the fixtures for next week. Geelong Galaxy travelled to Bayside Argonauts on Sunday and came away with a 2-1 loss, unfortunately. Olivia Hagger scoring the only goal for Galaxy. Moving along to this weekend's fixtures. In round 15 action this Saturday in Victorian Premier League Division 2, Geelong travelled to Nunawading City, 10th place Nunawading City. That game's going to be at Marnie's Reserve with a kick-off at 3 p.m. Box Hill United will be hosting the North Geelong Warriors. So it's 12th place 4th at Wembley Park with the kick-off there for 5 p.m. On Sunday, Geelong Galaxy hosting 8th place Southern United at Myers Reserve with kick-off at 3 p.m. Some big games, big results in Men's State League over the weekend. It was round 8 action, and let's go through some of these results. Coria defeated Upfield 2-1 at home, and the Eagles are continuing to collect some points, which is really, really good. Tutu Taya scored for the second week in a row. He's now scored 4 goals for the season. And Owen Shepherd, he's the leading goal scorer at Hume Reserve. His goal last Saturday takes him to a tally of 5 goals so far for the season. Geelong Rangers hosted Altona East Phoenix, and unfortunately for the Rangers, the game ended with a 2-0 result, but they were on the wrong end of that 2-0 scoreline, the Gers. Surf Coast, they bounced back after a couple of weeks of mediocre results to, guess what, absolutely destroy the top team that had previously been undefeated. 4-2 win over Altona North at Banyule Warrior Reserve. And that man, John Pikett, getting yet another hat-trick. He's third for this season, in fact. He's got a total of 12 goals now in 8 games, which is an incredible result. James Alexander jumping in and scoring the other goal. So Surf Coast doing very, very well and inching closer to Altona North. They're about 2 points behind the ladder leaders, but they remain in second position. The Coasters in State League 4, as we mentioned, last Friday night, Lara United hosted Deakin Ducks. Well, it was the Ducks that came away with a much-needed win, 2-1 over Lara United. Joel Matouche scoring Lara's only goal, and Brenton Reeves and Sam Wyeth scoring for Deakin. Now, interesting statistic. Every time Sam Wyeth scores, Deakin Ducks win. Every time he doesn't score, the Ducks lose. He's now scored in 3 games this year, Sam. The first 2 games and now this latest game. And guess what? All of those 3 games, the Ducks won. He's got 6 goals for the season so far. Melton Phoenix hosted Barwon, and Barwon gave it a good shake. They really, really rattled the Phoenix, but unfortunately they came away with a 4-2 loss. Christian Davies and Milton Bailey scoring. And now Milton Bailey, he's scored 7 goals this year, and he's scored in every one of the last 5 games. What's an incredible statistic here? Bailey has scored 70% of Barwon's total goals. So Barwon has scored 10 goals this year. Milton Bailey has scored 7 of those. Bell Park, well, they've jumped to top spot. Balmoral lost on the weekend, believe it or not. And as a result, Bell Park have jumped into top spot, courtesy of a 5-2 win over Keilor Wolves. Nick Nugent scoring 2 goals, Mio Marinovic scoring 2, and Lucas Rebagliati, the Italian import, on the score sheet yet again. Rebagliati has scored 8 goals in 4 games, and in each of those 4 games, he has scored a goal. Mia Marinovic has scored 6 goals so far this season, and Nugent now takes his goal-scoring tally to 3 goals. In State League 5 action, Ocean Grove came up against Bendigo City, and it was a 3-2 win for Ocean Grove. In fact, no, that's incorrect. That should be a 4-3 loss, in fact. David Favetta scoring a goal, Lucas Jester one, and Patrick Scusa as well. Favetta has now scored 7 goals. Jester has scored 5 goals, and Scusa also has scored 5 goals. Let's have a look at the fixtures now for next week. or this weekend coming. Coria, once again at home, got an important game against 11th place Clifton Hill. Another win here will really fire Coria up the table to a healthy mid-table position. Remembering they had 6 points deducted at the start of the year, and from all accounts, that appeal is still pending. So we wait to see what will happen there. This game at Hume Reserve kicks off at 3 p.m. Now, there's been talk that the games may be shifted earlier, but because of the A-League semi-final, but there hasn't been anything anything official. Brenton Ray, I know, is tuning into the show, and he's keeping an eye on all of that. So, folks, do keep an eye on the social medias. But at this stage, it's highly unlikely that anything will be changed, and the fixture times will be as is. Geelong Rangers in 11th position host Craigieburn City, who are 10th, actually. So that's also a wrong spelling, or misprint, I should say. Myers Reserve is the scene of Saturday's encounter, that game kicking off at 3 p.m. Surf Coast hosting 6th placed Laverton at Banyule Warrior Reserve on Saturday evening. Game kicks off at 5 p.m. And all 4 of the Geelong teams in State League 4 will be away. Deakin Ducks taking on 10th place West Point at Webster Street Reserve in the 3 p.m. kickoff game. Barwon taking on Westside Strikers at Taylor Hill Recreation Reserve, also at 3 p.m. And Barnstone Worth United, who are currently in 4th position, hosting our ladder leaders, Bell Park, at JT Gray Reserve in Williamstown. That game kicking off at 3 p.m. Tough one for Lara United as they travel to Balmoral Park to take on the wounded Balmoral FC, and that will be a very, very difficult game for United. But anything can happen. That game kicking off at 5 p.m. And Ocean Grove having a bye this week. In Women's State League Division 1, it was a Julia Akmacic goal that gave North Geelong Warriors 1 goal, but it wasn't enough as Altona City scored 3 goals in Saturday night football at Elcho Park. This game was followed the big Geelong derby between Geelong and North Geelong in the VPL 2 at Elcho Park. So a big crowd was on hand to watch this game. Unfortunately for the Warriors, they weren't able to continue the winning trend for the North Geelong Warriors. This Sunday, Westgate hosts the Warriors, and it's going to be a tough game for the Warriors, who have now slipped to 8th position on the competition standings. They travel to Ardea Reserve to take on the 2nd-placed Westgate FC. Rightio, what else is happening? Yes, Western United, Sevens team, they sent a team to Hong Kong to take part in the Soccer Sevens tournament there, which is quite a well-known tournament, and it features youth and academy teams from across Europe competing against counterparts from the Asia-Pacific region. From Geelong, you had Tobias Servin going along, and Anthony Didlitzer, who these days is based in Melbourne, but obviously Geelong born and bred, and they were amongst the team that travelled to Hong Kong. And the Western United team ended up winning the main tournaments. They came up against teams like Aston Villa, Macau FC, and the Hong Kong Football Club Captains Select as well. So we've got some footage of the closing stages of the final, the main tournament medal final. And it only goes for about 1.5 minutes, but it also shows one of the goals which is scored by Anthony Didlitzer.
As 11 aside, excluding the offside rule, the number of players and the number of minutes. Yeah. Bit of a tug on the back, and the ref has given it. Oh dear. Dudalika went down under some pressure from Callum Beattie.
Big moment here now. Freddie Toon will fancy himself, but there's only a minute left.
Here's Anthony Dudalika. Here's the man fouled. Takes the penalty, dispatches it. Tuma went down. Just out of shot. Stanley gets a yellow card. Most likely for dissent. Football club. Plenty of players in the box, but it doesn't break for them. Ball stumped upfield. The chase is on. It's going in. It was on target. Oh, needs to get there quickly.
Oh, no.
Doesn't get there quickly enough. And that is Harry Caskey following the ball in with the last second. And it is the end of the game. Second goal for Western, running out 2-0 winners. With Hong Kong Football Club chasing the game.
And congratulations to the Geelong boys, Anthony Didlitzer and Tobias Servin, who are part of that victorious Western United team as well. Yes, the Geelong rep squads have been named, and the country reps teams, which are only 3 weeks to go before the Football Victoria Country Championships. I do believe this year it is up in Albury-Wodonga, and Geelong will be sending something like 10 teams, which is a big number of representative teams. The under-11 boys South, under-11 boys North, 12 boys, 13 boys, 14 boys and 16 boys. And the girls will be represented, under-11 girls, under-12 girls, 14 and 16. I believe last year there were 3 girls rep teams. This year there are 4. So that's fantastic stuff. And not only will they be these rep teams taking part in the Football Victoria Country Championships, but they'll also be involved in the United Cup and the Mount Eliza Cup later on this year as well. So well done to them. A little bit later on the show, we'll also be discussing the Geelong Region Community Leagues, which kick off this week as well. This weekend, in fact. So we'll be looking at the structure of this year's competition. We'll be looking at the teams that make up the men's Division 1 and also the teams that make up the women's Division 1. We'll have a look at that as well a bit later on, and we'll also be looking at the round 1 fixtures as well. So that'll be later on in the show. We're going to take a very short break, and then when we return, we'll be speaking to a very, very special guest. If you've got any mental barriers that you are trying to overcome, obstacles, whether it's in the field of football, youth development, for example, or if it's in something to do with your own personal lives, midlife crisis, maybe something to do with business or relationships. Do stay tuned for this exclusive interview with a local author and a doctor of neuroscience, and a very, very, and she's quite an established and a long-time futsal player here locally, Dr Simone Boeer. Are you too busy running your own business to worry about your financials? Allow J Hill Books to focus on your books so you can focus on your core business. Based in Lara, Geelong, J Hill Books owner, operator and senior bookkeeper Judy Hill has always worked in finance administration. The world of cloud accounting, however, means that clients can be based anywhere within Australia. Currently, J Hill Books services clients from Lara, Geelong, the Bellarine Peninsula and Melbourne. You won't need to come home from working all day and start on paperwork. You can spend your time in other productive areas such as marketing or quoting, or even better, come home and switch off. You will know how your business is tracking as often as you need, whether that is on a weekly, monthly or quarterly basis. You can be satisfied that you are meeting your legal requirements to your staff and to the ATO. And deadlines will no longer be stressful for you. Let J Hill Books take the stress out of running a small business and allow you to enjoy watching your business go to the next level. For more information, visit our website at www.jhillbooks.com.au, or better yet, call us on 0402 469 243 or email us at info@jhillbooks.com.au. Welcome back to the Geelong Region Soccer Show podcast, and I'm on tour, if you like, not that far from actually where I live in Lara, and we're at Miller's Cafe, beautiful cafe on a beautiful day in the Grand Lakes Estate, and I'm speaking to our next guest, who just so happens to be practically a neighbour, Simone Boeer, who's a local author and also an expert in neuroscience. and we're going to talk a little bit more about that. But welcome to the Geelong Region Soccer Show podcast, Simone.
Fabulous. Thank you so much for inviting me on, Tonti.
Yeah. Now, you've got a direct connection with the Geelong football community here in Geelong, more precisely the futsal community, but we'll talk about that a little bit later on. But Simone, look, I've got a copy of your latest book, Ultimate Brain Hacks, which we'll talk about shortly. But tell us a little bit about your journey so far.
Yeah, not a problem. So I call myself a chronic overachieving multi-potentialite. And
all in the one word.
All in the one word,
one breath.
And the reason why I do that is that I've actually had 8 careers around Melbourne and Geelong. The first one being in psychology and neuroscience, whereby I have a PhD in neuroscience, which is why I've got the doctor in front of my name.
Yep.
And then I've gone into data analytics, strategy, even heading up the region's sporting facilities for a little while there. And now I'm out on my own as a lone ranger, as a mindset coach and strategist.
Okay, all of those things we're going to talk about shortly, because it's a very, very important topic for what we're trying to focus on today. But you said you headed the sports and leisure facilities or area in this region, and that was in your role at the City of Greater Geelong, and that's where you also had a big connection with futsal. Tell us a bit about that.
Yeah, not a problem. So it wasn't just just under 1 year where I headed up the facilities. In terms of my connection with futsal, I am a futsal player, and when I say I am, I still count myself as a futsal player, even though I haven't played for just on 3 years. However, I've played futsal for probably about 16 to 18 years now in and around the region. Yeah. And
that was even before the BVAC days, the Barwon Valley Activity Centre days. So
Gravel Pits Road, as well as the one out in North Geelong too. I've been out there, and also the Vic Beach. I've been out there playing too.
Yeah. And in that time, you were involved in the City of Greater Geelong as well, dealing with a lot of the sports organisations, sport facilities. So you got a really good insight into the sport here. But what we want to talk about is your latest book, which is called Ultimate Brain Hacks. And I'm just going to read a little bit here where it says, in this step-by-step blueprint, you'll discover how to rewire your brain for success with simple and actionable brain hacks, overcome subconscious barriers that hold you back, and create a compelling life vision that aligns with your true desires. Now, a lot of those principles, they can apply to practically anything in your life, whether it's relationships, business. What we want to talk about is the field of sport as well, and sport excellence. Tell us a bit about this book.
Yeah, not a problem. So it's ultimately a really simple way, if you're thinking about getting coached or changing your mindset or up-leveling some aspects of your life, through the book is a really simple way to get coached. And what it is, it's a combination of life experiences by me, brain science broken down into really simple, tangible vignettes in order to understand it, as well as the brain hacks themselves. And the brain hacks are really just simple activities or questions to take yourself through as a guide in order to be able to create changes in your mind and therefore changes in your life.
Oh, that's awesome. Now let's talk about, look, there was a conversation I recently had with someone who said, here in Geelong we've got some really talented junior footballers, male and female. They just seem not to be able to make that progression from talented juniors or talented teenagers to talented senior footballers. And we see a lot of that at the semi-professional, professional level. And one of those things seems to be the stumbling block, that when they get to about 16, 17, 18, they either are told that they're not good enough, or they feel that they're not good enough, and then they lose a lot of that motivation. And that seems to be one of those stumbling blocks. If we're looking at purely from a talented 16, 17-year-old ready to break into senior football, but they're finding something's just not right mentally, what would be your advice regarding that?
Yeah. So there's a lot that I could actually answer for that.
Let's break it down.
Let's break it down. So The first thing is having the goal, because it could be that they haven't connected with their own vision.
Yep.
And creating that vision and making it incredibly strong. And there's so many different ways to be able to create that vision. And it's not just going, oh, let's just write something on a paper. And that's actually quite an interesting thing as well.
Yep.
Writing it down enables you to achieve that vision 80% more than not writing it down. So,
and I guess that can apply to anything, isn't it? Whether it's their schooling, and a lot of those kids might be doing VCE, for example, but even their own relationship with their coaches, with their parents, their friends, their peers, teammates. I mean, there's so much that can be applied to, couldn't it?
Yep, 100%. And if you write it down, you start to build in the motor in terms of the thought to be able to write it down, to then start to achieve it. But then it's also living it. And what that actually looks like is being able to bring emotion into that vision. And a way to do that is through visualization. And often people go, what is that? But visualization, when you take it back to what's happening in the brain, is that you're just connecting a brand new neural pathway through the vision. And what happens is the brain doesn't know what's real and what's not. So if you visualize it first, you're creating that neuronal pathway to enable the achievement of getting to that next level in sport.
Now, we don't expect, teenagers to really fathom this or to even appreciate this, but their parents, that's a different story. And how much of a benefit can parents get themselves becoming better parents, becoming better people, by applying some of these learnings in your book?
Yeah. So there's so many people that I see at the parents' age whereby they've accumulated their life experiences, their life trophies, and for whatever reason, they've stopped. They've stopped moving in their life.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think a parent who can be able to unstick themselves out of the confines of what they've unconsciously created can be a fantastic role model for their children.
Yeah.
And an example being is with my daughter, when I've said to her, what do you want to be when you grow up? Well, she wants to be a vet, a farmer, a teacher, and a scientist. I've gone, fantastic. Go and do all of that.
Yeah.
Now, from my perspective, the scientist obviously comes in from my experience, but the vet and the farmer, and she's got it all sorted out. She wants to be a farmer first thing in the morning, a teacher, then once she's finished teaching at school, she'll go and do some vet work. And the vet and the farming is because she loves animals. And rather than saying, no, you can't have any animals, she can have some pets. And so I look at that from a parent's perspective, is that if your child can see you growing, creating new experiences for yourself, then the child can follow as well to create those new experiences.
What a fascinating analogy there. It reminds me of a story I once heard, whether it's true or not, of Oprah Winfrey when she came from a very poor, impoverished background. And as a kid, she said to her father, watching the first landing on the moon, I want to be an astronaut one day, Dad. Now, for a black child back in the 60s, 70s, that was like, oh, what are you thinking of? But her father actually said, instead of belittling her or laughing at her, actually said, you can be anything you want to be, or something along those lines. And that stuck with me. And another story, I guess, that really sticks with me is, in soccer terms, Luka Modric, who's one of the greatest midfielders at the moment, when he was 10 years old, told by the club of his dreams in Croatia that you're too small and you're too weak and you're never going to be a good footballer. He's now become, Real Madrid's one of the greatest midfielders, one of the greatest Croatian footballers, and at the age of 39 and it's those little potential setbacks that can really mold a child. But the parent, they have to be very, very supportive, and I guess that's the difference in that 1%, where kids will only ever grow to be mediocre as opposed to really become something in any field, isn't it?
Yep, 100%. And another brain hack as well is mantras.
Yes.
Now, Muhammad Ali, what was his mantra? He actually had a mantra that was, I am the greatest. And he said it over and over and over and over again every single day for years, until guess what?
You became the greatest.
That's it. So you might think of these little things as just frivolous little things to do,
Yeah.
but they are training the brain. And when we think about the brain, it is, in a way, it's like a muscle, but it's through neuronal pathways, and you strengthen those neuronal pathways through visualization, actually visualizing it, writing it down, having the mantras as well to become the greatest, to go to that next level as well.
Yeah. Now, we're very parochial here at the Geelong Region Soccer Show. We love anything that's local. We love anything that's made in Geelong and produced in Geelong, and is excellent. And here we've got a local author right here in Lara, actually, and who's come out with I think, and the best thing, like I gave this to my wife to have a quick read, and she said it's so easily readable.
Yep.
And I think just leafing through it, and I think that's something that I have come across. It's so easy to read, regardless of where you're at in your life. It's something that can certainly help you. What would be the 3 points, I guess, if you had to choose out of this book that you'd really like people to take away from it when they read it?
The first one is you can change, your mindset can change, you can change the environment. Everything starts with you.
Mm-hmm.
The second one is dream big.
Yeah.
And through dreaming big, if you achieve 90% of whatever you've dreamt,
mm-hmm.
isn't that better than, as you know, if you dream to land on the moon and you shoot for the stars and you get to the stars, isn't that amazing?
Yeah.
Versus not even leaving the atmosphere. And the last one is be authentic to you.
Mm-hmm.
Know who you are, that this is your dream, and follow you. And we call it intuition, gut, or anything like that. But if you're not authentic to yourself, that could be also ways that, you self-sabotage as well. So
yeah, yep, very good. A fantastic Ultimate Brain Hacks by Simone Boer, Dr Simone Boer. How can we get our hands on this absolute gem of a book?
Easy. So you can order it directly through my website. If you order it directly through my website, I will put a little note in it specific to yourself. My website is www.afreshapproach.com.au book. Otherwise, you're welcome to also jump on Amazon or any of the online booksellers. I also have it stocked in some areas around Geelong, including Torquay Booksellers, Book Grove, and oh my goodness, there's one more as well, up in in Sunbury.
Oh, in Sunbury.
Sunbury, that's not quite local.
But for all those people down around the Surf Coast and Surf Coast Football Club, Torquay Books, that's in the main street.
In Main Street,
yeah,
yes.
Yeah, absolutely. Simone, thank you so much for sharing your expertise and a little bit of that wisdom with us as well. And look, I can't reiterate how important it is for the parents, but as well as the kids as well, to focus a lot on the mental health and the mental strength side of things. I think it's so much more important than just, learning how to dribble, learning how to kick, learning how to shoot, although they are fundamental skills in any sport. But the mental side of things is just as important.
Yep, mindset is really the hidden ingredient.
Yeah, awesome. That's Dr Simone Boer, a local here in Geelong and also the author of The Ultimate Brain Hacks. We're going to take a short break, and after this short commercial break, we will continue with tonight's episode of the Geelong Region Soccer Show podcast. Are IT issues slowing down your business? Well, Ozcom Technology Group is your solution. A global leader in information technology services and solutions, the Ozcom Technology Group was established in 2009, and we've since grown to become one of the most distinguished IT companies nationally, with our head office right here in Geelong. From on-site IT support, cybersecurity, cloud solutions, web design and business phone systems, we provide expert IT support and services to keep your operations running smoothly. Our team of professionals believe that IT solutions can be achieved only by close collaboration with our clients. We listen to what you have to say about current needs, typical frustrations and expected outcomes. Speak to us today to learn how Ozcom Technology Group can help your IT system and put your organisation one step ahead of the competition. Drop us an email at support@oscomtechnologygroup.com.au or call us on 1300 720 503. And we're back here at the Geelong Region Soccer Show podcast. This weekend, the local Geelong Community League's senior season is kicking off. The juniors have already been underway. The gradings have finished, and now the league season kicks off properly. So it's time to have a look at the competition. Let's have a look at the men's divisions first of all. Has been split into 3 divisions after the gradings, and very similar to last year. 8 teams in Division 1. 12 teams in Division 2. Well, that should be men's Division 2. Geez, our graphic designer is going to get the sack after tonight, that's for sure. And our men's Division 3 is 13 teams, which is up 1 from last year, because last year there was 12 teams in Division 1. So there's a total of 33 teams, up from 32 last year. In Division 1, we've obviously got Armstrong United A, Colac Otway Rovers for the first time, A. We've also got Golden Plains, FC Leopold, Surf Coast, Deakin Ducks, Bowen and Bell Park. And as you can see, all of those teams have got an A after them, which means they've got 2 teams. So they've got a seniors and a reserves team, which is absolutely fantastic. So this year, it's a very much a new look men's Division 1 competition. The 4 finalists from last year remain, and that's Armstrong United, Surf Coast, Bowen and Bell Park. And this year we've got Colac for the first time, Golden Plains, FC Leopold return after a year in Division 2, and the Deakin Ducks also return to Division 1 as well. Gone are Geelong and Breakwater, or now known as Geelong City. And that's quite a sad story. Geelong City / Breakwater, they, for the first time in their history, will not be fielding a senior men's team. In fact, they won't be fielding a senior women's team either. It's become purely a junior club. Rangers and Lara United have been relegated to Division 2. So in Division 2, we've got Armstrong United's B team, Colac Otway Rovers B team, Surf Coast's B team, Deakin Ducks B team. Then we've got Lara United, Corai Bay. We've got 2 teams from Ocean Grove, both A and the B. Drysdale A's, Bowen Heads A, and Coria and Geelong Rangers, who have only got a 1 team in the Geelong Community League. In Division 3, we've got some 13 teams in total. Armstrong United, Colac, Surf Coast, Deakin, they've all got their 3rd team in that. Well done to Armstrong United, by the way, and Colac Otway Rovers as well, who are fielding 3 teams this year. Well done to them. Lara United, Corai Bay, Drysdale, Bowen Heads, Golden Plains, FC Leopold, Bowen and Bell Park all have their B teams in Division 3. And then we've got Ballerine Sharks, who are making up that competition as well. So that's fantastic. We're going on to the men's. So that was the men's competition from last year. So moving on to the women's now. The women's Division 1 competition consists of 8 teams. Barwon, Deakin and Surf Coast all have reserve teams as well in Division 2. Corai Bay, Bell Park, Ocean Grove, Lara and Drysdale make up Division 1. On paper, it looks like a very, very good, very competitive women's Division 1 competition. Let's hope that is the case this year. Slightly different from last season. Only 1 team. Drysdale make their return to the elite division of the women's competition, and FC Leopold have been relegated, who finished, I think, in second last position. They moved to Division 2. Women's Division 2 consists of 10 teams. Bowen, Deakin Ducks and Surf Coast all have their reserve teams. Geelong, Golden Plains, FC Leopold, Ballerine Sharks, Bowen Heads, Colac Otway Rovers, who are fielding a women's team for the first time ever, and Armstrong United. Having a look at and there we go. There's the difference that happened last year. And those are the league standings. So Deakin Ducks finished in top spot, Bowen, Bell Park, Ocean Grove in that order, followed by Surf Coast, Lara United, FC Leopold and Corio Bay. I guess the worrying trend in the women's competition is that last year there were 20 teams. This year there are only 18. So for whatever reason, the women's competition is bucking the trend of large growth across the region, and whether that had anything to do with the grading system or not, but it certainly looks like a fair outcome in the end. What do you think? Pop it down in the comments section. What do you think of the grading system so far this year? What do you think of the ultimate structures, I guess the league divisions? We'd love to hear from you. And we're going to take a look at the men's Division 1 and the women's Division 1 fixtures for this weekend. The men's, all their games are on Sunday and all kick off at the traditional time of 3 p.m. And it's quite, as we mentioned, quite a regional Division 1 competition this year. Armstrong United play host to Colac Otway Rovers. You could almost deem them to be the near neighbours. That game at Armstrong Creek Reserve. Golden Plains hosts FC Leopold at the Bannockburn Recreation Precinct. Surf Coast will be at home to old rivals Deakin Ducks at Banyule Warrior Reserve. And Barwon hosts Bell Park at Grovedale Reserve at 3 p.m. On Saturday, the Women's Division 1 kicks off with 4 matches at various times. Corio Bay hosting Barwon at Evans Reserve with a 1 p.m. kickoff. Bell Park does battle with Ocean Grove at the Bell Park Sports Club, kicking off at 2 p.m. And then Lara United taking on the Deakin Ducks at Lara Recreation Reserve, also 2 p.m. And then Drysdale hosting Surf Coast at the Drysdale Sporting Precinct at 3 p.m. And that pretty much, I think, almost brings us to the end of the show. We're going to take a very, very short break. And when we return, we will be wrapping up tonight's episode of the Geelong Region Soccer Show. Don't go away. Just Turfing Instant Turf is a local, family-owned and operated company which guarantees top-quality products and service. Whether you need turf for a small front garden or a large landscaping project, Just Turfing Instant Turf are the turf installer experts you can trust. They supply and install for most major landscapers in Melbourne and Geelong, with a wide range of premium instant turf and a full suite of turf care products. Chloe and the team at Just Turfing are sure to have all your turf needs covered. Their Melbourne, Geelong and Victorian regional distribution means they can supply your area with fresh cut turf installed the same day, hassle-free. Turf options that are available include Eureka Kikuyu, Santa Ana, Tiff Tuff, Sir Walter Buffalo and Sir Grange. For more information, contact either Chloe on 0431 571 558 or Josh on 0457 174 111. And that pretty much wraps up this week. Good comment there in the comments section from Jamie Mellon. What's wrong with running a promotion and relegation league? And I think we've mentioned something like this in the past. Yeah, the gradings did serve a very good purpose, particularly last year, and would be probably a good case to now have a case of 2 up, 2 down, or 1 up, 1 down, however we wanted to do it moving forward. Anyway, all the community leagues kick off this weekend. And before we do go, just a quick word about last week's show. Thank you to everyone who tuned in. Just on our Facebook page alone, we had over 5,400 views on our various videos. Our main episode video almost had 2,000 views alone. And that's just on our official Facebook page. We've got several other platforms, both on Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, Twitter, and also YouTube as well. So, do share it around, particularly that interview with Simone Boeer, a very, very good one, worth showing around, sharing it on your social media posts. Folks, thank you for being a part of this week's Geelong Region Soccer Show. Next week, it's episode 10, and we've got heaps and heaps of football happening all around the region this weekend, so I'm sure we'll have a lot to cover and talk about next week. Until then, good night and stay warm.